Byzantine gangster, while Ellery wrote appallingly overdue letters. On the 26th, he had packed and rested for the journey ahead, which he contemplated with no joy whatsoever. He had been working hard, and his bones lacked bounce. At 8 the next morning, he piled his suitcases into the antique Duesenberg, embraced his father, and took off. By some leer of fate, several of the servicemen he picked up early in the trip spelled him at the wheel while he was still fresh. But after he crossed the Mississippi, when he was beginning to feel the strain, not one of the hitchhikers he stopped for proved able to drive or had a license. So by the evening of December 31st, when he pulled into a Hollywood already boiling over with New Year's Eve good cheer, he was weary in every cell and desperate for a hot bath and a good mattress. "I know, Mr. Queen," said the desk clerk with the basset eyes. "I know we confirmed your reservation, but—" It seemed that Ellery's room had been boarded by two ensigns freshly in from the South Pacific. "And in the finest tradition of the Navy," sighed Ellery, "they won't give up the ship. All right, I'm licked. Where's the nearest phone?" By this time he had to find it for himself. Lou Walsh exclaimed, "Ellery, you bet we can put you up for as long as you like. Get over here pronto. The party's going good." It certainly was. But he was unable to back out with grace, and it was almost dawn before he achieved the bath and the mattress. His sleep was turbulent. Voices howled faintly in his inner ear. He rocketed down an endless white line on an endless highway, and his fingers ached from steering with the sheet. From time to time, the world of his senses coupled with the world of his dreams and spawned phantasmagoria. Once he saw a splash of sunlight, smelled roses growing in freshly watered earth, but then his eyes slid shut again, and he struggled into a dark gray dusk somewhere in the mountain snows stained with splotches of blood like roses. And another time a radio voice pronounced a passionate "Helen," and immediately he was being tossed between the gong-tormented sea of Homer and a modern ocean hellishly aglare with exploding ships, while gongs sounded and resounded and the tormented sea roared in agony. He slept until dark, and he was still tired when he awoke, the hot shower barely lapping at the shores of his tiredness. Evelyn Walsh pounced on him. "We thought you died in your sleep, Ellery," and proceeded to stuff him with orange juice and eggs and toast and pancakes and brassy tea. "We're out of bacon and coffee, darn it." It seemed the Walshes had been prodigal with their ration stamps. Ellery sipped the tea thinly. He had envisioned coffee by the quart. Lou Walsh gave him his choice between joining them in a quiet New Year's night get-together at the home of a movie star friend of theirs in the hills, or just sitting around the house yakking. Having experienced quiet New Year's night get-togethers in Hollywood, Ellery shamelessly chose the alternative. They talked the war and the flesh situation. Lou was a partner in a talent agency, and the Nazi concentration camp stories, and the voices began to go away. And then Ellery heard Evelyn say, "That does it," and his head jerked up and his eyes flew open. "You're going right back to bed, Ellery Queen, if I have to undress you myself." "Well, but will you and Lou go to your party?" "Yes. Now march." When he opened his eyes, it was midway through Sunday afternoon. He was still wrung to the withers, and something new had been added. A case of the shakes. "What's the matter with you?" his hostess asked. She had rustled a bit of coffee somewhere, and he was trying to hold the cup steady as he gulped. "You look awful." "I can't seem to throw off this fatigue, Evelyn." Lou Walsh shook his head. "If you feel this way now, Ellery, how are you going to live through the rat race? I understand this OWI fellow you're to work for at Metropolitan is trying to win the war all by himself." Ellery closed his eyes and said, "More coffee, please." The next morning he made it a point to get to the Metropolitan lot at 9 o'clock.